Now, I just want to warn the viewers that this is going to be a bit of a rant slash complaining, but it's my own personal opinion, and so just take it for what it's worth. It's not the end all be all of opinions. So, what I want to go over in no particular order are the 10 things that bother me about photography. Now, there are all sorts of things, just little pet peeves here and there, but this is sort of a list I just put together for fun to make a video of. And feel free to add some in the comments section of, pet peeves of yours, kind of what gets you going. So the first one I wanted to go into was Photoshop and editing complainers. Now these are the people that go, I don't need to edit my photos, or, I got my photos straight out of the camera, no editing required. Well, I understand if you strive to get it right in the camera. Everybody should. I try every time to nail it in camera. That way I don't have to go do more time in post-production. But for the people who say I never edit my photos, they're either misinformed or just full of shit. Go back to the days of film, and this is a long time ago, and I mean everybody likes to bring up Ansel Adams, right? He edited the shit out of his photos. This isn't anything new. When the average photo enthusiast back in the days of film would go drop off their film to the lab, if they didn't specify what they wanted done with the photos, the photo technicians would go ahead and make adjustments for them. You never got photos back unedited unless you specifically say, I don't want them edited. So they would do color corrections or exposure adjustments, add or subtract contrast, what have you. Many people drop off overexposed film and they would get it back properly exposed. That's because they edit it. If you shoot JPEG in your camera does the editing for you, right? So, and if you convert your RAW file straight to JPEG without doing anything, you're only hurting yourself in the image, because it takes a flat image, much like normal film was, and then it requires you to do something to it to make it really pop. So photos require editing if you do it in RAW. If you shoot in JPEG, well, even if you didn't do it yourself, they were edited. So number 2, the people that ask for critiques and get offended by them. If you ask for it, you got to be prepared to take it. You got to set your ego aside. If you want to grow as a photographer, that's just the way it's going to happen. If you don't like constructive criticism, but if you don't like criticism at all, maybe you should stick to posting to Facebook. And then everybody can tell you that you're an awesome photographer. Number 3 is nice camera. It must take nice pictures. Now, I get this one quite a bit, and it makes my skin crawl. I get kayakers back there sometimes. And I'm always polite when answering back. But man, it's like, would you go to a restaurant, have a meal that was delicious, and then go up to the chef and go, that was a great meal, you must have nice pots and pans. I mean, he'd look at you like you were an idiot. So this is no different. The camera is just a tool. Yeah, my camera makes my life a little bit easier when I'm doing photography, but it's not the end all be all. I can still get the same results, if not damn near close, with a lower end camera. So get that out of your head. The camera does not make the photographer. It's all this stuff right in here that does. Number 4 is people that scoff at watermarks. Now, I understand in the digital age that watermarks can be easily removed, and so people laugh at it. It's like, why even bother? Well, I use watermarks not to protect my image per se, but I use it as a form of advertising. So, I don't put a watermark right in the center of the photo or anything like that. I normally put it off into a corner, and I set the transparency really low so it's hard to see. But if somebody wants to see who took the photo, you're going to see my web address there, or you're going to see my name. So if they want to see more, they know where to go. So it's just a form of advertising. You know, I could take one of my photos with a watermark on and I can load it into Photoshop and get rid of that watermark and you would never even know it was there. So that's not the point to it nowadays. So it's just advertising. And especially with the amount of pictures that go online, is if somebody really wants to know, there's where to go, you know. The next is parrots. And what I mean by parrots are the people who just repeat information that they hear online or see online. They can't really back it up with experience or anything like that. They just repeat information. And, you know, it bugs me when they don't know what they're talking about, so maybe they go off in a tangent and then it becomes very evident that they don't know. You know, we were all new. At some point, we didn't know what we were talking about. I sure as hell didn't. But try things for yourself. Figure it out. Form your own opinion. You know, there's people here on YouTube, and one that I, you know, follow every now and then. He's highly against cropping. He likes to get it right in the camera. Well, you know, that's great. I try and do that too, but it's not always the case for me. So I'm not hard against cropping. If I think a picture is going to be better cropped, you know, in just a little bit to adjust the framing, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to discard an image or leave it as is just because I'm against it. Is he wrong? No, not at all. That's his opinion. More power to him. Point is, follow your own advice. Listen to people, figure out what they have to say, and then form your own opinion at the end of it. Number 6 is people who fixate on megapixels. I thought we were fucking done this, you know. Get over it. Megapixels aren't the end-all be-all of cameras. They're nice to have, especially if you do a lot of portraiture or landscapes or something. You could zoom into a file and you can really, really get in there and fine-tune a lot of the things. But for the average person, you know, 12 megapixels is more than plenty. Shit, I think 6 is still good for the average consumer. A lot of working pros still use their 12 megapixel D3S, D700, 5D Classic, you know, and they love them. So for the average person, I would be more concerned about high ISO and what that looks like. You know, can you shoot a relatively clean file at 3200 ISO, at 6500 ISO? I think you'll find yourself in better situations if you can shoot better low light than if you have these monstrous files that you'll probably never ever take advantage of. So just think about that. If at the end of the day you still decide you need a D800, good on you. Still wish I sort of had a high megapixel camera too. But that being said, I do love my camera. Number 7 is the people that say, you know, shoot this for me for free. It's going to be great for your portfolio, or it'll give you great exposure. No, fuck you. You know, what's in it for me? Would you go up to a plumber and say, you know, fix my toilet just this one time? I got friends coming over all the time. They'll see your work. They'll want you to do it. No, you wouldn't say that. You know, why is it any different? Would you go up to a chef again and say, you know, can I have this meal? I'll write a review on my Facebook page, and you know, you'll get more exposure. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know why people like to do this with photographers. I don't know. Those people don't value your work, so send them packing right away. Just once they say that, flat out be nice, but just say no. There are some exceptions to that rule, though. Now, I'll never say that free work is bad altogether. You know, you should do some charity work. I'm trying to set something up right now, which is going to be completely free. You know, it's going to help them out. It'll help me out. So there's something in it for both of us. I recently did a shoot with a music producer. I wanted portfolio shots with him in mind. So I was looking for it. I contacted him. I said, you know, can you help me out? I'll give you some images and so on and so forth. So, you know, I'm not going to go shoot a birthday party because some mom says that it's going to look in my portfolio. No, not going to happen. Don't get sucked into it. Do it on your own terms. Number 8, self-important film shooters. These are my favorite. I shoot film because digital is way too easy. That, and I love the smell of fixer in the morning. You know what? Go fucking shoot wet plate then if you want something difficult. Then come back and talk about how awesome your film camera is. Now, I don't get me wrong. I think film is great. Film will never go away. There's always going to be a place for it. Some people love the aesthetic of film. Some people just have this romance with shooting film. That's great. No problem with them. But it's almost like the people who just think they're elite because they shoot film, and I'm better because I shoot a film camera. No, it doesn't work like that. So again, this is my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. Number 9 is people that think a DSLR is a badge to do whatever they want. Now, I run into this all the time, and when you see so many people walking around with a DSLR, it's going to be right in your face. And I live in a very touristy town, so it happens all the time. You know, you see these the signs. You go into a museum or an art gallery, it says no flash photography. There's a reason for that. It's not just somebody who dreamt up this idea that, you know, I'm going to make life hard for photo enthusiasts and not let them use flash. No, flash can degrade some things, right? Whether it's artwork or statues or something like that. That's the reason why. And when you see these people going around popping flash like crazy, well, all that's going to do is hurt us in the long run. And they're eventually could just ban it in certain areas. You know, pushing through people because you have a camera, getting in the way of working photographers. It's just, that's, you know, there's no common courtesy there. It doesn't give you the right to do that sort of thing. One example that comes to mind is, I can't remember what the event was, but they had some children's choir out on the front steps of the legislature here in Victoria. And there's people gathered all the way around. They had the television film crews filming for the news. And then you could see this one dad, and he was weaving through, kind of bumping into people and pushing them away. He wasn't being outright rude, but his actions were. And, you know, he was getting in the way of other parents because he had a big camera, and he was getting right in front of the people. He was walking in front of the film crews, like, while they were filming live television. And I could just see them looking at each other, like the film crews, like, who the hell is this asshole? So just be respectful, you know, because one day you might be a working pro, and you're not going to appreciate some guy stepping in front of you. So just be decent. That's all it is. Number 10 is people who knock an education in photography. Now, I'm going to be making a video about this actually shortly after this video, and I'm going to touch on my thoughts on that as a whole. But what really gets me going is you see it on the forums, you know, somebody asks you, should I go to school for photography? And most of the time you're going to get people going, no, it's a waste of money, you know, you don't need to, there's YouTube, there's the internet. Well, much like everything else in photography, that answer isn't so black and white. There's a lot of variables to consider. Is it right for everybody? No. But there is still a place for it, and I think there always will be a place for formal education. And I'm going to go over the benefits to it. I went to photography school, and I loved it. It was great. I think it helped me grow as a photographer, and I think it could do that for other people. Just maybe not everybody. But so anyways, I hope this helped, and we'll see you next time. Take care.